I guess this all started on June 15th around midnight. The Madison Atkins Facebook account started messaging former members of the community that helped her 5 years ago. People went to her actual page and they looked up, and over her page, the Facebook banner had an image that looked blank, but once you adjusted the contrast, it led to a Dropbox file that was a letter asking someone named Miss Lamar for help, and it was signed by Elle. The letter also said that Elle and her associate were trying to get into contact with a community member, and as far as they know, this person was dead, and that person happened to be Miss Lamar's childhood friend. Miss Lamar ended up being Aurora Lamar, who is a friend of mine who I've known since kindergarten. The very next day, Aurora went out to her uncle's funeral, and she came home and found a box on her doorstep. The box had a bottle, a fake rose, a sympathy card, a sticky note, and a fake pigeon. We named the fake pigeon Morris, by the way. The sticky note that was in the box told Aurora to find Madison Atkins, and when she did, she found the community who had found the Dropbox letter that was addressed to her, and everyone was figuring stuff out together. So Aurora knew that she was looking for me because I was her oldest childhood friend. Aurora found me, filled me in on the situation, and I knew when she brought up Madison Atkins and the fake pigeon that this was serious. I got back in touch with the community, and I was going over everything that was in the box with them. In the bottle, there were blank sheets of paper, and I think it was the Mirage child who first suggested that there might be invisible ink on it, and I agreed because that's how Abby and Thomas were communicating with us 5 years ago. I took the papers out of the oven and nothing happened. When I turned off the oven light, the pages started to glow. And those messages decoded to Philly Cupcake, hurry, Elizabeth sent you. New community member Charlotte went to Philly Cupcake and said that Elizabeth sent her and got a letter in an envelope that was marked to someone named Elizabeth. Inside the envelope, there was a handwritten letter, a blue leaflet, and a micro SD card in a baggie. The letter was addressed to Elizabeth from someone named Annette. Annette was talking about how she was a programmer and was logging so many hours programming for Elizabeth's uncle, and that Elizabeth is traveling, so that they're doing this pen pal thing as a means of keeping in contact with each other. So Charlotte put the paper under a light, and when she turned off the light, certain passages had been marked with the glow-in-the-dark ink, and they started to glow. Your father losing mind, my keystrokes logged, OTP, won't last much longer, name that tune, figure out the right order, expect one next. On the micro SD card, Charlotte took it out and there was a piece of paper wrapped around it that said save for 4 weeks, and the SD card had a bunch of untitled tracks and a picture of me and Aurora when we were in the 3rd grade. And the song titles in the right order ended up being Afraid, This Won't End Quietly, I Was a Fool, I Didn't Know, Haunted, She and I Stuck in the Middle, We Can't Stop, Waiting, If I Should Fall Behind, Don't Save Me, Run, Contact, Message in a Bottle, Don't Wait. Now, the third thing that was in that envelope was a blue leaflet that had a mailing list called Message in a Bottle. And so the community members mailed the mailing list, and they were prompted to put in their personal information, and some community members did. I was pretty freaked out about having some of my personal information in the letter and the fact that these people were targeting me and my former friend, so I tried to leave the community, and Aurora kind of dragged me back in. I made my peace with it, and I agreed to go on and to help the community at any lengths that I could, and that was the end of the first week. The second week, a lot of digging and research and information kind of boiled up, so I'm going to try really hard not to forget anything. Tyler, one of the new community members, got a letter in the mail from Elle. Elle is short for Liz, which is short for Elizabeth, who is one of the people in this 2-people partnership and the person that sent Aurora the package and the letter to begin with. The letter talked more about Annette's working relationship with Elizabeth's uncle. There was glow-in-the-dark ink on that one, and it said, your uncle, he has 5 kids at least, maybe more. Your uncle can read my thoughts about the leak. Sorry, I'm just getting desperate. There was also another micro SD card in the envelope. There was a picture of me when I was 16 with my godmother's children, who my family attempted to adopt before we had to give them up for adoption. The songs that were on that ended up being shuffled, the list decoded to Almost Done, 2 weeks, Everybody's Watching Me, uh-oh. I said, who's your uncle? She said, Mr. Zip, I know why, Abby heard 'em all, Screaming Bloody Murder, All Through the Night. Mr. Zip meant the head of Zip Enterprises, who ended up being Nicholas Channing, who was the bad man who kidnapped all those girls 5 years ago. So, taking everything we've learned from the letters and the playlists, we've come to find out that Elizabeth's uncle is Nicholas Channing, and I think that she wants to stop him. Thinking about that made me realize that it was time that I told the community a couple of secrets that I'd been holding on to the past 5 years. I wasn't the only one keeping those secrets, so I thought it would be best to reach out to my other friend to get permission first. And that's when Madison came back in. Nicholas Channing guy, as you know, re-kidnapped those 6 girls that we rescued from the trailer, but also that about 6 months after that, the FBI found the dead bodies of the girls, and 5 of them had C-section scars, and the 6th one showed no sign of giving birth, and they think that she miscarried. Madison agreed to watch us all from a distance. So if we need anything, or if you guys need me to ask her anything, I can always just reach out to her, and it would be much easier than we could have before. She also said that she was going to get a hold of Adam, but I haven't heard anything about that, which doesn't surprise me even a little bit. So then I guess that brings us on to week 3. This time, Caitlin, Canada's baby, got a letter in the mail. This one had even worse handwriting than the other ones. There were no highlighted passages, and it was a little bit shorter. But the song titles were "The Program equals Skeleton Key, He Will Come, Use It, and Then Disappear Without a Trace. Abducted Girl's Daughter Still Alive, Art is Dead, I Will Be Next." The picture was of a baby, and it said "Safe and Sound." The baby we ended up identifying as Aurora's daughter that she gave up for adoption. And on the baby's onesie, there was Morse code that looked like just regular polka dots. And that led to a blog spot. The community figured out that this had belonged to Cynthia Jackson, which was one of the 6 girls that we rescued from the trailer 5 years ago. And that's about where we are with all of that information stuff. The community has some people that they find rather suspicious. One, Jordan, my almost ex, and Josh, his former roommate, who did some really inappropriate things to me in Florida. Sorry to debunk this one, because I know it seems like it's the most appealing, but Josh got arrested for drugs, and he is not in any position to have anything to do with this. Jordan had no idea about what happened with me and Madison. I think that's out too. And the community also seemed to be really interested in my little sister because, I don't know, I guess because she's a 16-year-old, loud, opinionated girl. There's no history of epilepsy or anything in our family that would make Amy a target, like Madison was a target from this Channing guy. Also, there's no family history in Aurora's family with epilepsy either. Neither of our family have anybody who works in pharmaceuticals. And Aurora's uncle, I can't find anything that would link him to this. Like I said, sometimes a dead uncle is just a dead uncle. But one thing that Aurora noticed was that all the people that were referred to as ghosts or had their faces blurred out in these puzzles, the thing that they all had in common was that at some point in their life they'd been adopted. So this death that Liz and Annie are speaking of, Aurora thinks it means adoption. As for Elizabeth and Annette, it's becoming a little bit clearer. Elizabeth is Channing's niece and wants to stop him, and Annette was working for him, had no idea what he was up to until it was too late, and now she's working as a hacker or some sort of programmer or something. One of her codes said that the program equals skeleton key. She did mention that she was working on a program in the first letter, I think it was. I looked up what skeleton keys do, and they're usually used as deus ex machina in plots, but basically it's just a master key that will let you unlock basically anything. If Annie's a hacker and she's working on some sort of software that works as like an internet master key, I don't even know what to think about that. If Channing had access to that kind of thing, he could find more girls, he could find Madison, or me, or anything. Or he could remove every trace of himself from every corner of the internet. That's scary shit. The very first letter that we got said safe for 4 weeks, and we're coming up on the 4th week of being involved with this now. If we're about to be cut off from Annette and Elizabeth, and they're our only link to all of this, I don't know what we're gonna do. I hate fireworks. So let me know what you guys are thinking.